Avengers! And I guess everyone else.
Assemble.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh edition of To Hell With It. Let's do the whole wave. And like I mentioned the other day when I reviewed the Gamerverse Captain America from this wave, I went to the store for supplies. I needed some water, I needed some food, and Walmart had this whole wave here. Hell, they had this wave, they had the Black Widow wave on an end cap with the Venomized action figures, the bigger stuff, and they even had the new Star Wars Black Series wave with Count Dooku. So like most of the time, when I do get a whole wave at the same time, I'm gonna go through this, see what's going on, build the Build-A-Figure, and we'll just look at all of them. We'll just have a grand old time. Now, like I mentioned, I already reviewed the Gamerverse cap. This was the one I was most anticipating. For some reason, I just like the design. I do like the figure, but a lot of you didn't, and you made sure to let me know about that, and that is cool. I swear, you do not have to like every figure. You can have your opinions. You can have differing opinions. Hey, that's what the internet's about. That's what this hobby's about. But if you just throw one word up there, like, my opinion's trash, or I'm a bad reviewer for not trashing it, move on. I'm just playing with toys. But the other characters in this wave is classic Captain Mar-Vell, or Mar-Vell. There's Gamerverse Iron Man from the upcoming Avengers video game. There's Rage from New Warriors, which I was out of New Warriors by the time he came around, so I'm not familiar with the character, but he looks like a kick-ass action figure. I was into Thunderbolts, though, so I needed Mar-Vell's Mach-1. Not just Mach-1, Mar-Vell's Mach-1. Mar-Vell's leader, classic villain, Hulk, needed. And then there's Gamerverse Miss Mar-Vell. It was an easy redo with some of the new sculpts here, like with Captain America, like with Iron Man, like some of the heads. The gear on Mach-1, they had to go for an easy one. So she's not all reuse, but mostly. On the back, they all have their bios, just telling what it's about. Little blurbs, little get-to-know-yous. There's the whole wave in the nice artwork from the side. Well, not that one. That was the... Oh, there we go. Some of the nice art from the side of the package. I like Stearns just kind of staring at you. A lot of people are ragging on Abomination, but I'm kind of excited to see what's going on there. Anyway, I'm going to get these open, and unfortunately, the Gamerverse figures are my least, well, except for Captain America, the Iron Man and the Miss Mar-Vell. Who are we going to do first? Let's do Iron Man. Getting it out, getting it in hand, I like it more than I thought I would. At first glance, it was kind of, oh yay, another Iron Man. But this one's very nicely detailed, very solid. Right off the bat, some of you are not going to like it, but it does use the swirly twirly plastic, or marbleized, or whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit translucent. You can see some sparkle, not even sparklies. I don't know how they do that. It's magic. But there's a metallic look for it, but some people don't care for it. They want straight up shiny. And honestly, if it was shiny, I probably would like it a little bit better, but I don't hate this. This has the effect that it's going for. It's not just paint. It's a plastic effect. Maybe I just like the gimmickiness of it. The gimmickiness. And this hits all the Iron Man high notes. There's the reactor in the chest. There's armor plates on the shoulders. There's the red. There's the gold. There's the tech detail in the sculpt. And it's all pretty nicely done. I mean, I hate to say it's generic Iron Man, because it's not. It's a new design, and I think it's a completely new sculpt. I especially like this detail down here, but it also has smooth spots, and I like the contrast there, that it's not overdone. It's a nice, basic Iron Man design. If anything, though, up at the head, it seems, well, the head rides high first. It has some extra detail going up on top. I like this gold stripe. It breaks it up a little bit from the usual Iron Man design. But then you get that old, classic, maybe Alex Rossi look with the nose, and the cheeks seem sunken. It's like an old man in here. I am ready. Saying all that, I don't hate it. One of the things articulation-wise that jumps out at me right off the bat, there's a perfect spot here to put a ball joint in the torso, and it wouldn't have broken up. It would have rode and tilted and went all around, but they put an ab crunch in it. It's still fairly hidden because of this design running down the middle. It does its job, but it doesn't do this job. I would have liked to go all the way around. I do like to see the return of repulsor shooting hands that have hinges in them, so you can have the relaxed look, or if he's blowing some shit out of the air. Going over articulation, what's up here? There is a ball at the top of the neck. There's a hinge below that. Can look up, which every good Iron Man should. Can bury the chin, but I can already see this coming. That's all the tilt we got. Swivel. Hinges swivel at the shoulder, come up, and the shoulder armor tries to run into the torso. If you push down a little bit, you can make it go in there. And it comes, well, not quite 90, but most of the way up. Then that swivels all the way around. Rotation at the bicep, and that follows the shoulder pad really well. Double elbow, the bottom on the right side is stuck. Gotta heat that up. Like I showed, the wrist is hinged, goes all the way back. That's how it should look with the blasts. But because it's set like that, it doesn't really go in, but that's okay. It still has that relaxed look. Swivel, hinge of the torso goes forward, arcs back, cut at the waist, which would be another point of articulation that a ball joint in the torso would get rid of. Ball joint coming out to the hip, comes forward, back, kicks out, not terrible. Thigh swivel, double knee, what do we got going on here? Oh, no, not quite. Get off that, bing! Hinge at the ankle goes back, kicks forward, forward facing pin, but it runs into these armor pieces coming down over it. You have to kick around it a little bit. In the package, Iron Man has a fist for the left, an open palm for the right, but he also has a replacement fist for the left and a replacement palm for the left. Let's see how easy that is to pull. Oh, that was easy to pull out, easy to plug in. Joints back. And I put that in there because it also comes with these blast effects we've seen before, but this is a nice pearly blue to it. Oh, and I'm definitely loving that. That is fantastic. Iron Man stands at about 6.5 inches tall, which puts him just barely. I mean, it's not even worth considering how much taller this one is than the 80th anniversary Iron Man, but just ever so slightly shorter than this other version of Iron Man. And then here's the Marvel Legends version of the movie Iron Man armor that I think this one closely resembles. And then the Marvel Legends Bleeding Edge. And then alongside this wave's Gamerverse Captain America, good size. I like that it's a little bit taller. It's a dude in armor. And then, I don't remember what Marvel Legends, is this a movie one? Captain, no! This one has the joint I feel should have been in that. I can hula hoop. Next up, the other Gamerverse figure I have left. Let's go ahead and do Miss Marvel. And honestly, this figure does a good job of being who it's supposed to be. And while most of the sculpt itself is reuse, I feel like the paint, and especially the face, is a major upgrade. You can see that the colors on the new one is much less comic booky, much more realistic than the first one. That Avengers game is going for, as evident with Captain America, is going for more of a real world feel. The blue is dulled down a little bit, the red's not as vibrant. The gold on the chest isn't even the exact same design. It's also missing the gold stripe on the scarf and on these seam lines going up over the shoulder. It even has a different design down at the tail end of the scarf. Again, the gold is dulled down, less vibrant. The boots are new. Here's comic book, here's more realistic take. At Toy Fair, Dwight mentioned that she gets new boots and they would be able to be used on other characters. I'm not quite sure who, but that's exciting. That's the thought of, oh, that gets us one step closer to another character. But I think the biggest upgrade here is the comic book paint on the original Miss Marvel is now photo real on the new one. You're going to get more realistic looks to the eyes, to the lips. And honestly, I like this better. The skin tone is a little bit more toned down too. Again, I don't know how many times I've said comic booky, but hey, it's less comic. The hair is even a different color. On the original, it's brown. On the new one, it's more black. I also like that it's dulled. It's not so catching all the light. And even with this dress coming down and around, it wants, or well, it seems like it would traffic cone, but you bring the leg up and it kind of bends with it. She also seems a little bit easier to stand than the original. On my first one, the feet, where the detents were in the ankles, I knocked that over. I touched it. I don't know. They never wanted to go even, so she always pops herself. Going over articulation, there seems to be a ball at the top of a little neck. Then you can see the hinge right there. The hair and the scarf and everything else, there's no looking up. Does look down. That also kills any tilt. Bit of swivel. Arm hinges out, all the way. Swivels all the way around. Hinges swivel at the elbow, comes up past 90. Then that rotates. Same thing at the wrist, side to side, around. Ball joint in the mid-torso. Not bad range. Ball joint coming out to the hip, comes forward, goes back, goes out, swivel at the thigh, double knee. Oh, wait, what's going on here? Bend at the double knee. There you go. But even then, no, not quite. I'm going to break a knee doing that someday, and everybody's going to laugh at me. Swivel at the boot, hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, she comes with the same elongated hands that the first version came with, and those pop out at the shoulder. That's an elbow. I'm going to learn my anatomy someday. Pops in. You don't get quite the same range at the elbow, but you get this cool power effect. Height-wise, Miss Marvel stands at 5 5/8. Here she is with the original version, and then Miss Marvel from the 3-pack with Radioactive Man and Captain America, or Warbird, or Carol Danvers, or yeah, whatever you want to call her. And then here's the 3 Gamerverse figures from this wave, all from the Avengers game. Next up, let's look at Mar-Vell. And for everything I just said about Miss Marvel being mostly reuse, Captain Marvel's essentially the same, but it is a new character, it is a new paint job, it is a new head. I think it's a new head. But I like this body. It's slender, yet muscular. It's pretty big. This is the body I feel like Cyclops should be on, but that's a battle for a different day. It has something I wanted a long time on the figures. It doesn't look like a naked, painted body. It actually has clothing wrinkles in it, in places where the clothing would stretch or bunch. That's just extra points for me. Although the arms, I feel like should have a little bit of sculpt here and there just to match the rest of the body. But that's okay, not a big deal. The overall look here is, well, perfect for Mar-Vell. It fits how I picture him back in the day. And I love the contrast of a flat red against the metallic blue paint. The yellow on the chest could have been gold to match the negabands. Is that what these were called? I don't know, it's been a long time. These are metal. These are some kind of alloy. This is part of a costume. So, oh, I can live with it. There's even wrinkles at the butt crack. I don't prefer this look right here. I know this is part of the costume, that it comes up in the front, but with that cut across there, it seems kind of just, there it is. It does the same thing with the torso too. You can see the cut across these lines coming up on the side. You either use a base body you already have with the cuts in it and make it comic accurate, or you cut it off there, you stray away from that comic book look. So Hasbro is doomed either way, really. But again, you get away from it. You're not looking at it through the camera. You're back, it's on the shelf. Those things don't jump out at you. But I'm having trouble, I don't know. I want to say good things about the hair. It's a nice sculpt. I like the color. I love the shading in it. It's that 70s blonde. But for some reason, it looks like Captain Universe is wearing a wig, you know? It seems like it needs to be down a little bit. But again, get way back. It's not a problem. There's a ball that you can see up in the skull with a hinge on top of the neck. Can look up, bury the chin. Oh, he's got the tilt. Swivel. Hinge of swivel at the shoulder, comes up past 90, all the way around. Bicep. Double elbow, comes up past 90. Hinge, swivel. Hinge of the torso, kicks forward, arcs back, cut at the waist. Ball coming out to the hip. Oh, past 90, yeah. Back, runs right into the butt sculpt. Out, not great. This used to be a Spider-Man, didn't it? Swivel at the bicep, or swivel at the thigh. Double knee, right there. Yeah, that wrinkle sculpt comes at a cost. In fact, I pushed a little hard, and it seems to be wanting to tear. Swivel at the boot. Ankle goes back all the way. Forward. Forward-facing pin for rocker. No accessories. I guess you could count the bands. They are separate pieces. If you wanted to take those off, does this pop? Yeah, it does. So if you want to take those off, put them somewhere else, you can do that. But I don't want to. I'm going to leave them right here. Oh, another thing I just realized, he's got the duck feet, doesn't he? Height-wise, Mar-Vell stands at 6 3/8 tall. Unfortunately, I cannot find my old Toy Biz Captain Marvel, but here's the variant of that, which was Guinness-Vell Captain Marvel, and then a custom I made of that same character. You can see Hasbro's crept up a little bit in size. I forget how small some of those Toy Biz characters were. Man, he cuts a good silhouette. That's Captain Marvel. That's awesome. Next up, let's release some rage. Oh, and an interesting design. It's very luchadorish. And this seems, oh, I was gonna open that up, but that is some hard plastic. It seems to be using the Hyperion sculpt on the chest, maybe the arms. I gotta know. I'll do you one better. I found Captain Britain. Yeah, same torso, same arms, at least the bicep and the shoulder, same legs. And I was gonna say that I thought this new wrinkle sculpt down above the boot was new, but no, it's from Captain Britain. And looking at it here, he looks high-crotched or short torso, but that's because this belt is riding high. Let's see if we can pull this down, get it around his actual waist. Yeah, that looks much better. Yeah, putting it down there, it helps hide the jut out at the hips, almost like the hips are wider than the waist, and that gives him more torso. I think that fixes my problem I had with his proportions. But doing that, I'm about to state the obvious by saying the belt is a separate piece. Also, these bracelets are separate. But I think what I really like on these boots, are these new? I doubt it. They're probably reused from somewhere, but seeing it on this figure, I really dig it. That's nifty that they painted the chest hair on. Like I said, this vest is a hard plastic, but I love the sculpt of it. It's got the seams, it has the leathery look to it, these yellow pockets to call back to the mask. Oh, there's even zipper sculpt right there. And then on the back, same thing, even the stitches, that's awesome. But I think what sets off this character most is the mask itself. It's a weird design, but it is accurate. You have the eyes punching through. It's not photorealed because we've been told that that process doesn't work on deep recesses, and those eyes are pretty sunk in there. Also, I feel like the gums are coming down a little too far on the teeth. Then again, it gives them kind of an underbite look, so I don't know. I like it. It's ragey. There's even a little stitch sculpt around the eye holes. I love the yellow and black. It's very Wolverine-ish because it's yellow and black. I don't know where I was going with that. But the craziest thing, I say craziest, why is his nose sticking out? I mean, I remember that design. I've looked up pictures before I started this review. It's accurate. I think my problem here, though, is it doesn't seem to be painted the same color as the skin. Again, I'm not going to walk up to this dude and say, hey, why's your nose sticking out? You don't piss off a guy named Rage. And I have my problems with the Hyperion / Captain Mar-Vell / Radioactive Man / Luke Cage and whoever else they've used this body for, that mostly in the chest. As you can see on Captain Britain, it just juts the hell out from the neck. But with Rage, it's hidden by this vest, so it doesn't really bother me. Right as it is like this, it's a big muscle dude that's nicely replicated in plastic form. For articulation, there is a ball on top of the neck with a hinge under that. So he can look up, it starts to run into the collar of the vest. And like I've said, God, I can't believe how hard that plastic is. Down? Yeah, best tilt in the wave so far. Rotates, arm hinges up past 90, all the way around. There's a bicep. Double elbow comes up past 90, in and out, all around. Hinge at the torso, crunches forward, arcs back a little bit. Ball at the hip comes forward, goes back. Ouch! The biggest guy beats everybody so far. Swivel at the thigh, double knee. Oh no, he's just too thick. Swivel at the boot. Ankle hinges back, forward facing pin for rocker. Accessories! Rage is a big fella at 6 7/8, which puts him towering over fellow New Warriors Nova, kinda, and Night Thrasher, who is so 90s New Warriors, it's not even funny. Now, Rage came later in the series. I wasn't reading New Warriors when it was him and Darkhawk. For some reason, I never got Darkhawk. Oh, it's a hard decision, but next up, let's look at Mach-1. And I picked him second to last because I thought I wouldn't like him as much as I like the final figure we'll look at here in a minute, but I like it more than I thought I would. Oh no, life is terrible. I like something more than I thought. And while I knew there was some reuse here, or a lot of reuse really, I didn't realize how much was actually new. Because some of the parts come from this beetle, which is kind of crazy because the beetle is Mach-1. So, well, I think this is an animated style or something. I'm not familiar with this look. I just know it's a beetle. But the shoulders are reused. You can see the knobs up under there. The biceps, the forearms with its little blasters. The hands aren't for some reason, and we'll get into that here in a second. The banding around the top of the legs with kind of that knob sculpt again. Thighs, there's the knees, the shins, and the calves. Not the feet. But it is not reuse of the crotch piece. This has bigger balls. Same ab piece coming up the middle. And it looks like underneath this white armor is the same torso piece, but they've modified it to accept this rubbery white armor piece. You can see how flexible it is, but it's a little pearlescent. It's armory. What more can you ask for? There's the Thunderbolt symbol on there. It's painted a little off-center, but yeah. Because of the reuse with the knobbies on it and the lines, and then especially these blasters, I thought, man, Mach-1 is going to be inaccurate as hell to the comic book look. I guess it's been a while since I've read that original run of Thunderbolts, and that's pretty damn close. I don't know if they made this Beetle figure, whenever the hell they did that, with Mach-1 in mind, but it's a little bit genius. And while the armor itself is a bright white, you get to the blues and it's swirly twirly plastic. It's marbleized. It's got, well, even the lighter blue paint on top of it looks metallic. It's a good look all the way around. The feet are a little bit plain underneath all this tech detail, but it's not bad. And then get up to the head. It's got that helmet look. It looks like Mach-1. It's got the visor. It's got more knobbies running around the top. It's got an antenna sticking out the back here. I kind of wish the visor was a different color. We've got these metallic red vents, or whatever those are, on the sides. You look at the glass and it looks kind of fake. I'm not asking for a full-on visor with a face behind it or anything, but a more metallic look or shiny or something to make it look glassy would have been appreciated. That, and I do feel the head is a little bit small. He's bulky, he's armored up, and I don't know if a head would fit in there. When it comes to the backpack though, again, now after all these years of knowing this is Beetle in disguise, it's damn obvious, but at the time, it totally got me. Of course, I'm one of those guys that watched The Sixth Sense all the way through and didn't catch on until it was actually revealed, and even then I was kind of like, wait, what's happening? It's the same stark white as the top armor here, but it brings in the metallic blue to break it up. Don't think it's removable. It's somehow pegged underneath this armor that is pegged into the torso itself. Oh man, yeah, as I pull, it goes all the way through. You can see right there, it's dragging on this armor piece. My biggest gripe here is the hands just look out of place. They don't plug in right. There's no detail to them. Even if it wasn't the most accurate, I would have liked to seen this Beetle's hands because it's got some kind of knuckle dusters. It's got an armored look to it. It's got extra detail. That's all I'm asking for. Hell, Mach-1 has fingernails. What's up with that? And on top of that, they're grip hands. No accessories. He's got nothing to hold, so fists would have been awesome here, or flat palms. In fact, isn't there somebody with metallic blue hands that has flat palms or fists? I'll have to go digging. Anyway, going over articulation, there's a big ball at the top of the neck with a hinge. Can look up, which is good for a flying character. Can look down at all the ants on the ground. Little bit of tilt. Rotation. These shoulder bells are... oh, damn, they are part of the torso. That's all one big soft plastic piece. The shoulders are hinge and swivel, come up to 90. They would rotate all the way around, but bonk, bonk, bonk. Got a bicep. Double elbow, past 90. I love these blasters. They're big, they're clunky, but Abner didn't care. Just put them on there. Hinge at the wrist, swivel. There's a hinge at the torso, goes forward. Oh, not bad. Arcs back a little bit. Cut at the waist. Ball at the hip comes forward, goes back, out. Past forward. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. We gonna go for it? No, stops about right there. Hinge at the ankle goes, oh, runs into that ball right there, but if you push, it goes up and over it all the way back. Nice forward too. And then forward facing pin for rocker. Ooh, getting him standing straight up, his arms are kind of long. Very insect-like. Height-wise, Mach-1 is 6¼ inches tall, and he looks good alongside fellow Thunderbolts, Citizen V, and Songbird. Or Baron Zemo and Screaming Mimi if you're evil! Then here he is alongside a couple of other Beetle armors. This has to be one of my favorite designs in comics for some reason. I don't know if it's the color scheme or just the simplicity, the wings, I don't know. And then finally, as far as single figures go, Mar-Vell's leader. Boy, this is just a week for high belts, isn't it? You can see it was way up there, and again, it throws the proportions off when the belt's like that. You bring it down to the actual hips, or at least modern style. I guess this would be classic. Bring it down here, and it looks... I don't know. I just feel it's more in proportion like that. Anyway, here is Leader. Boy, anybody remember the 90s cartoon of Hulk? He was just like, oh man, it's got a big brain. He's got to be smart, right? And I know the Leader's older than that, but that's the first thing that pops out at me, I think. Body-wise, it's reuse from Mr. Fantastic. Well, not this one, because this one has different shoes. The original Reed had regular feet. Otherwise, it's the nice, thin... clothed look, because you don't just see muscles. Muscles are inferred under the clothing, but it's mostly wrinkles and cloth stretched over it. Well, you get to the legs and then there's muscles, and that blows my whole point out of the water. But I still like the overall look. I mean, it's the Leader. I'm not sure if this is actually comic accurate or based on any one source, but I like this gear. It evokes Leader. It's got some orange, it's got some yellow, it's got some black. That's his costume. If I don't go to the internet and look up every single picture of the Leader, this is what I picture in my brain, so I am completely good with this look. Plus, it gives us a new kind of harness. Again, it's made out of the rubbery material like Mach-1. But the big draw here, of course, is the Leader's head. It's that look. I mean, this is what you picture. A big old noggin coming all the way up, but he still has hair. I think at this point, well, in fact, can you even... oh yeah, he can comb that high. But I think at this point, I would just shave it. But the hair is nicely sculpted in, along with the eyebrows, the goatee, and then the eyes. I mean... the skull, well, in general, his head is large. Cranium gets that big, you're going to add some girth to it too. And the green just stands out against the orange and the yellows. I mean, this is all villain colors, right? He's just missing purple. And I really have nothing to gripe about here. I mean, character-wise, it's the Leader. He's always scheming, he's doing experiments, he's building stuff, he's using his brain. So... his body being like this, okay, yeah. Going over articulation, there is a ball at the top of the neck with a hinge. Can look up. Ooh, 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 ooh. Can look down. Ooh. Okay, that joke's gonna get old. Because when we get to, a little bit of tilt. Swivel. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder. Goes up a little past 90. All the way around. Bicep. Oh, double elbow. Best in the wave so far. Winner! Hinge and swivel. Hinge at the mid-torso. Crunches forward. Back. That's why the belt was up there. There is a cut across the waist. Does double duty. It helps proportions and it hides the cut. Ball at the hip comes forward, back, out. No, it still doesn't beat rage. Thigh swivel, double knee comes, oh, we're gonna do it. Yes, bing, 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 bing. Ankle hinges back, kicks forward, forward facing pin for rocker. Hey, guess what? Accessories. But somebody on the Fwoosh forums suggested using Domino's purple gun. And that looks like an evil, death ray or freeze gun or something. Plus it brings another evil color into the mix. There's your purple. Plus his hands were made to hold a weapon. Why he didn't come with one, I don't know. I guess all the budget went into Abomination and the new sculpts for the Gamerverse figures. She has two. She can share. There you go. Leader stands at 6 5/8 tall. And speaking of high-crotched, here's the old Toy Biz 2-pack leader, affectionately named Testicle Head Leader. And while I like this costume, it's got the bracers, it's got the cool-looking boots, this body is terrible. This is kind of more realistic, a little bit more classic. And a head swap probably wouldn't look good. How evil am I? Here's the biggie though. Hulk is a lighter green than Leader, but I don't even care. They were made for each other. And then finally, let's build the Gamerverse Abomination. First though, you don't see the inner workings a lot. The butterfly joint, forward and back. Ball joint, ooh, that's cool. Down at the bottom. Looks like that piece right there gets in the way though. Still some movement. Yeah, I love action figures, but I also love the engineering too. I like seeing what's inside. Let's pop that on. Oh, that wasn't really a pop. It just kind of goes together. That's an L. A little force. Easier than some Build-A-Figures though. Pop the arm in there. Behind the camera strength. And there's an L. Plus, that's a left hand. Get your ass in there. Or shoulder, I should say. Look how shallow the neck socket is on that head. You would think, as soft as it is, it would just pop right in that ball, but ooh, it's not going. Okay, as forceful as that is, I'm gonna try an experiment I was gonna wait and do, but I'm gonna show you first, or we're gonna try it out. Here's the more classic comic looking head with the ear fins and all that. It's an older Build-A-Figure. Will this go on here? Yes, it will. It's a little bit long though, but ooh, if you got that adjusted, sunk in a little bit more. This wasn't the Build-A-Figure, was it? This was the raft set from San Diego Comic-Con. Lighten the paint a little bit, and like I said, sink that ball a little bit further. You may be in business with this. Yeah, kind of tough looking. Look at this damn monstrosity. This thing's huge. Not your traditional Abomination by any means, but I like the skin sculpt here. It's all lumpy and bumpy. Got some spikies right here. Got some spikies on the back. You can see that it's an inlaid rubber piece. That's a hard plastic. That's soft plastic. Spikes at the elbows. Got a pants sculpt. It's ripped at the legs. Like, oh, I'm Abominationing out. But there's no damage up here. He took the time to unbuckle his belt. Are you ready for this Abomination? A weird detail, but okay. And then the legs continue that reptilian look, kinda. It's bumpier up here, smooths out on the shin a little bit, but then more spikes back here. And the toes, it's got this weird look. Same thing on this side. The two middle ones are kind of merged together. Then this raptor claw on the inside. Paint-wise, I understand why they went this way, and it's very Killer Croc-ish. Dark spray on top of the shoulders, on top of the bicep, on top of here, and then especially up here behind the neck. That's on top of the green plastic itself, and then on the front of the chest, on the inside of the arm, there's this lighter tan color. You can also see it inside the hands, and then just barely seeps through down here at the bottom. But then you get down to the legs, and it's just kind of the plain plastic. It's interesting up here, and then down here it's kind of plain. I would have loved to see the claws here on the hand painted. Same thing down here on the toes. That would have just stuck out at you. You would have been like, oh my god, that's weird. And then of course I'd like to see a dry brush or something on the pants, because it does have kind of a denim detail there that's completely lost in the murkiness of the plastic. And then up at the head, there's pink on the tongue on the inside. The teeth are painted the same color as the spikes out the back of the head. And then the eyes, I know this is the game design, but it's a little too human looking. Anytime I hear Abomination, I want the big ear fins. But at the same time, this figure overall, it's not your classic, it's based on the game, but you know that going in. You can't buy it and go, well, this is not classic Abomination, out of my collection. Or you can do whatever you want. Gonna attempt to keep this big bastard on camera for articulation, but like I showed, there's a dumbbell joint at the neck coming out to the head. Get up, can look down. He does look side to side really well because of that. And that rotates. Butterfly joint goes back, not really forward though. Like Hulk, I guess they don't want to cut up the chest sculpt. But the arm hinges up, the spikes run into it about right there. Swivels around, here's some funkiness or some Abomination if you will. The bicep is a floaty piece, and the lower arm actually pins through that to the shoulder, which also rotates. So you hinge about 90. Hinge at the wrist, swivel. Nice ball joint at the mid-torso. Ball coming out to the hip, goes forward, back. The big guys win. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. There's no way this is happening. About right there. I swear I have my lights on, but this figure is so big, it throws its own shadow down on itself. Swivel at the foot hinges back, forward, and then forward-facing pin for rocker. Something I just noticed standing him straight up. He's got his mouth open, but he doesn't look too enthused to have his mouth open. I mean, I guess he's supposed to be angry. Abomination stands at 8.5 inches tall to the top of the head. And look what I actually found. The old Abomination. I love this look. I just wish it was bigger. You know what I mean? And then there's a later Toy Biz Abomination that I gave a paint job years and years and years ago. He was very long-limbed. The Mar-Vell Select Abomination, which is a huge brick, blunt force trauma waiting to happen figure. And then again, that Raft Abomination, which again, I'm cool with from the waist up, but the legs always seem stumpy and short. But if you are going to try to slip them into your Marvel Legends display, or comic book them up a little bit, it doesn't look half bad with the modern Hulk. I mean, the more I mess with this and the more I look at it, I love the proportions here. So at the end of the day, not really heavy hitter intensive, but some nice additions for various shelves. Mach-1, if you're a Thunderbolts fan, this was much needed. It has its problems, but it definitely evokes that feel from back in the day. Now give us some more Thunderbolts. We need all of them. The leader, a good, solid, classic villain. I dig this Iron Man design as kind of a mix of the MCU and comic book. And then Miss Marvel is, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, just reuse, and we already got this character, but it is upgraded in some aspects. Captain Marvel, again, classic, like leader, but this time it's a good guy. It's one of the good guys. And then Rage. Like I've said several times, I was more of a fan of the New Warriors early in the series, and then I dropped out of it. But you know what? If I get a team, I'm going to build the whole team. Rage is part of that. Hey, more the merrier. And then Abomination. Again, it's not your classic Abomination. It's a Abomination. But on top of that, it's a good action figure. It's fun, it's chunky, it's huge, it moves around, you can put them into fight poses. Hey, that wins in my book. And if they ever wanted to take that body and classicize it a little bit or something, I'd be okay with that. Hell, if I get squirrely, I may do some changes myself. So this was a good get. Again, nothing that's gonna set your display on fire, but it adds to the display, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. Right now, Dorkside Toys is doing a weekly contest, so if you're in free toys, supporting the channel, or just want to see videos a little bit early, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh.